This video demonstrates WebCombine, a programming by demonstration tool that allows non-programmers to scrape large datasets from the web. The aim of this demonstration is to collect the publication years and citation counts of all papers by the 10,000 most cited authors in computer science. We will collect this data from Google Scholar using a programming by demonstration tool called WebCombine. With this tool, users can demonstrate how to collect the first row of a relational dataset, and then WebCombine will collect the rest. To build a scraping script, users conduct two different types of interaction with the tool. They can demonstrate a list, which corresponds to adding a for loop, or they can demonstrate an interaction, which corresponds to adding to a loop body. A user alternates between these two actions to build a program of nested loops. In our Google Scholar example, a user first demonstrates a list, then an interaction, then another list. We start by entering list finding mode. In this mode, clicking on nodes in the browser window adds them to the list. The list finder guesses other nodes that should also be included. The highlighted nodes indicate the tool's current guess about what should be included in the list. If the list finder tries to include a node the user doesn't want, the user can click on it to remove it. In this case, the tool correctly guessed our intended list after we clicked on the first author. But we'll take a moment to demonstrate how we could add or remove nodes if we needed to. As we update the list, you will see the changes reflected both in the highlighted nodes and in the control panel list at left. If we click on two authors' titles, the list finder guesses that we want to include all authors' titles in the list. But we actually only want the author names for this demonstration, so let's go back to the list that WebCombine guessed after that first click. We've clicked on the author titles to remove them, and now we're back to the original list. When we're satisfied with the list, we'll tell WebCombine how to get to the next page of the author list. We first indicate whether this page uses a next button, a more button, or an infinite stream interaction. This particular page uses a next button. For pages that use a next button or a more button, we go over to the browser window and click on the button there. Next, we'll tell WebCombine how many list items we're interested in scraping. We wanted to scrape 10,000 authors, so we'll type 10,000. Now WebCombine has everything it needs to scrape this list, so we're done with list finding. Now that we've introduced a list, we can demonstrate an action that we want WebCombine to repeat for each item in the list. Even though we want WebCombine to apply the interaction to each list item, we'll only have to demonstrate it on the first item. In this example, we want to visit each author's page so that we can scrape each author's papers. So we'll demonstrate how to get to the first author's page. We start recording, click on the author's name, and then end our recording. Now that we've opened the author's page, we're ready to introduce a nested loop. We enter list finding mode again. This time we want to collect a multi-column list, a table. We want to scrape several attributes of each paper, specifically the title, the number of citations, and the year. So we click on the title, the number of citations, and the year of the first paper in the list. The tool has now correctly guessed the target list. Now we'll show the tool how to find the next button. And finally, we'll limit the number of papers to scrape. In this case, we want all the author's papers, so we'll put a very high number here. During this process, we've been building up a small visualization of the program. You can see an orange box for each list and a blue box for each recorded interaction. You'll see that some of these boxes have scraped data associated with them. Each cell in the first row of our output table appears somewhere in this program visualization, associated with the stage that scrapes it. In this demo, we didn't do any scraping during our interaction, so there are no cells associated with the interaction stage. Beneath the program visualization, we see the whole first row of output so far. Since our output row now contains all the information we want for this demo, we're ready to scrape the rest of our data. WebCombine has been building a scraping program as we go along, and now all that remains is to click Run. As the WebCombine script runs, the scrape data is added to the output table in the control panel. When the script finishes running, it will have scraped a dataset of more than 3 million papers.